the game is underway, and let's let ourselves into Summoner's Rift for the second time tonight for our second series, and a big one at that. I'm sure the players on Iron are looking at this one and really hoping for that 1-1 to make sure that they still have a very comfortable buffer with only another week of gameplay left to go. So both these teams really, really keen. I'm sure they're both all in with all this prep going towards this one matchup to guarantee the 2-0.
Yeah, and we get to see the early aggression out of Diables, trying to get some vision down, start with the sweep, but deny the ward coming out of Hooper. So this might mean there is going to be some sort of invade happening in the early game, you know, where they want to deny Zyra or track where Zyra is on the map, so Mayfan can either invade or potentially, you know, start with a late level 1 invade.
Wondering if we were going to get that level 1 fight, but no flashes needing to be burnt, but the aggression certainly starting from the very get-go. We talk about the differences between these two junglers. That of the Zyra is going to be very quick to clear, whereas that of Mayfan, back to his favourite role of the jungle. He's going to have his work cut out for him. If the jungle gank doesn't work out, the opportunity cost is lost. You're going to only fall further and further behind, which can be a tricky situation to navigate, right? Do I need to try and almost like gank my way out of this hole that I've created? Or do I just take the L and find success elsewhere? And this is something we've not seen in quite a hot minute, right? Two players just waiting in the bush, seeing who decides to step up.
Yeah, this is something that is more common in Season 14, as you really do not need to leash your junglers anymore. The only reason we really see it is to, you know, if you're playing something like Karth this into a Graves where they really want to invade level 2, you give him the leash so he's able to speed up his clear a lot more. You never ever leash because your jungler needs that assistance doing his first camp. You get so much sustain inside the jungle now that no one needs help. It's all about speed clears, and, you know, giving that extra bit of a leash in the jungle in these susceptible matchups might mean that the enemy gets caught off guard with how fast you clear your jungle, and that's when you can really find early leads.
Speaking of those leads, it's going to be one also to keep an eye on, right? Make sure that the Fiora is held at bay. There's something about Direwolves, man. I swear, like, we have mid laners always rotating into the top lane. It started with Claire. Now we got here for Chungi as well.
How's
I'm
the
curious to sort of see. I'm very curious to see.
We've already seen Nox completing 3 camps, going into the 4th of Mayfan's jungle. Mayfan not even finished his 3rd camp yet. And Nox is just going to steal away his entire jungle. But, you know, Mayfan, you know, did set up for that early level 1. They don't have vision of the camp, so he's walking in blind here. Not quite sure where Nox is, so you're going to feel a bit more cautious about stealing away these camps. Whereas, you know, Nox knows I'm clearing the jungle so much faster, and if he walks into me right now, I don't really care.
Don't really care, but I'm sure at the same time Mayfan has premeditated this one, but we have Pryo in the mid lane. SWAT lane is working in our favor as well. Who's coming to stop me? And I'm sure he thinks at this stage absolutely no one, but no doubt Nox is in his comfort zone. That is his element. He likes to invade. That's what he mentioned to us only about, what, 10-15 minutes ago. He is very keen to get the ball rolling. So with a double buff and a Fiora already unleashed from lane at 3 minutes in, Emphis is the focus, and Emphis will be flashed upon with the root, but not for the kill.
Yeah, not quite sure why Prey has been. He had the, you know, we're used to that 3rd wave recall coming out of the top lanes. Decides to roam mid on a champion, doesn't really have a lot of success in the early ganks or a lot of pressure on the mid wave, but just wants to be there in case Mayfan shows up and goes for the counter gank. Gonna stay in lane and really extend his recall to be able to find the best first base he can in his 1v1, because it is quite a free lane for him at this point.
Certainly should be. The Orianna is going to definitely be put back at bay, unable to try and weave in those auto attacks from the passive to make sure that the Zione doesn't have the freest time, but as we're seeing more and more of, right, with the removal of the lethal tempo, Fleet is the go-to. The sustain is insane, especially because you've got the Doran Shield too. And once level 6 comes around, yeah, we can talk about the shockwave for the Orianna, but the kill threat from Chirp is just going to be sky high.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that with the addition of you know, Fleet being the major rune for Yone now, he's just a lot more of a strong laner. You know, in times past, you could land some really good poke onto Yone in the early game, and he would usually have to recall. But now, because of this combo of Fleet, Doran Shield, and the sustain meta we're seeing in the mid lane from these bruises, just a lot more of a hard time for these mages in the early game.
Very hard time for Chungi as well, copying the L in this matchup as Prey's able to try and tap on down to those vitals and get that damage rolling from the very get-go. Does raise a question as to who is here to try and protect him, because if you look at the vision so far, that entire part of the river top side is lit up in Fury's favor, making it very difficult for Mayfan unless he has some creative pathing to find a way in. And speaking of Nox, he's going to be relentlessly targeting Emphis, you'd imagine, knowing that, well, if your flash is down, I'll come at level 5, I'll come again at level 6, and we'll see if we can find it one more time. Yeah,
a lot of attention going to mid lane from Nox, but he's not wasting time when his camps are up. He's making sure there is nothing for him to do besides that gank. You know, the map is still staying.
Seems perfect for King, right? He's a bit of a mount collector. Why not just collect cards as well? I mean, it fits the bill. Certainly can get some very nice shinies and maybe, you know, earn a house deposit if it's a really good card as well. Who knows? I always look back at my Pokemon card collection and hope, was my Charizard the one that was worth all those bits of gold? Here we go, though, back into the game. Not the longest one, thankfully, for you, for us, and everybody else watching. As Chungy is taking a fair bit of damage here, but Prey has run himself and might not be able to be that much more of a menace.
So as the Cookie's inventory, so he can get that instant mana back. Nox is hovering around. If they do, you know, want to go for a dive, it is quite hard to commit. I think that is going to be a wave collab. You see that, you know, once again, Chungy able to sustain up thanks to that passive. That one is getting nerfed next patch, Skimmy, so hopefully we won't see any more of this, you know, super tank Gragas in the top lane and more so move back to the, you know, really cool champions like the Gangplank, who is getting a buff next patch. So I'm really excited to see if that comes back into meta.
I would hope so, yeah. If we bring back the likes of GP, the list goes on, more AD options. We're happy. We're back to when you and the Chiefs ran this region. Certainly the comfort zone, to say the least. As Nox just going to look trying to assist Prey in crashing that wave because he had little to no mana. Doesn't want to consume the biscuit at this stage, but he will peel away with the rest of his team and with the assistance of Chirp to go for those grubs. Cross-map play, though, as both these junglers have been rather allergic at finding one another.
Yeah, and this will always favor the jungler when they do these trades because Grubs gives more experience than the Dragon. Not significantly, not a significant margin, but it's still a lead for Nox to get, and he's going to be able to, you know, go back to this map split. And I think this is really nice for, you know, the solo laners of Fury. They have a side of the map to hover, so Mayfun doesn't really have gank angles. And in the 1v1s, they are going to be very comfortable.
They certainly will be. Let's see, though, if anything does come out very quickly, as Prey fresh of a reset, has level 6, so do majority of these solo laners now, so a chance for them to showcase just how strong they would be. Emphasis Flash will be up in, I want to say, about 10 to 15 seconds, but it will be too little, too late. Double ults cast by both the mid laners as they go all out to try and make this fight a winning one, but it's heavily against them as Fury have 3 and only Direwolves having 2. Shinky rocks up just a little bit too late to the party. A massive stun from Chirp to knock up 2 once again. The Flash only off cooldown now, being burnt to cover distance, and he's done enough to escape.
Yeah, and what a nice roam from Prey. Like, who was getting ganked there? Emphis and Mayfun thought they were setting up onto Chirp, being a bit too aggressive. But, you know, Prey using his timings. He's not just walking to lane and just AFKing as always pushing back into him. Has access to the TP, so, you know, we see him roaming down here. And it's just a really good job by the side of Fury to play together as a team and not just leave these lanes to be, you know, bullied by the Direwolves roster. And using these flashes, using these summoners to punish Emphis. You know, Flash was not quite off cooldown yet. We got to see him use it on the very end, and that's just when it ticked off cooldown.
Yeah, it was so close to falling on down in that play, and that really would have spelt disaster because you cannot afford these duelists to get ahead. Especially now that Chunky goes, well, that's cool, guys. Really appreciate the fact that you've allowed Fiora to come back to lane and be 1-0. So GG on that front. Whether or not that can translate into much more, because he's already got a very sizable CS lead too.
Yeah, and, you know, as we see this top lane match, it's just going to get even worse and worse, especially when Prey has the Demolish. He can stack these waves in, lose a bit of health, get the Demolish proc off, and then sustain it back up off the wave. Especially when he does get that Ravenous Hydra, it's going to be very one-sided. Chungy is kind of on, you know, Fiora duty this game. Even if he does manage to get a solo kill and get ahead, he's going to get to a point where he loses the 1v1 no matter what, and he's kind of forced to just sit there and clear the waves, and that's something that is so frustrating about Fiora, is you're kind of on duty guarding your towers.
Yeah, it's a rough life up there. You're just basically told, just hold your own as best you can. Your true utility will come from when we do get a chance to group up as 5. Finally, it took us 9 minutes, but both junglers decide, you know what, we will go and trade against one another. Nox stealing away his own Gromp on that occasion as Mayfun's going to get bullied out of that jungle. Decides, you know what, I'm going to jump back in as he summons those Vine Whippers and hits the Crescent Guard. Shinky jumps in as well. Steadfast Presence looking to try and deny it, but it's a little bit too late. The ultimate to empower the plants to knock up 2 and for Nox to retreat as he gets a kill in the process. Look how low their HP is as Katsuri is like, I need to run. If that rain of arrows was enough to cover distance, because Chirp has made the great trek from mid lane and a single slash of his blade to get a kill too.
Yeah, and Hooper will walk a bit and cover that one up, but look at the power of the Zyra, Skimmy, you know, really nice, you know, denial of the engage from Findo onto Shinky. It means that, you know, Charm doesn't land onto Nox, gets the Stranglethorns off, as we do see in the replay. This is just the extended trade coming out of Nox. So much, you know, damage coming through, but this is a really nice denial of the engage onto Nox, gets the Stranglethorns off, thankfully, from that denial, and that just means they don't find the trade onto the members of Fury, and just a really nice roam by Chirp using his priority to, you know, cover the bot side of Fury, and then because his AD carry isn't here on the map, he walks mid and also covers in return.
Roaming really has been the name of the game here from Fury, and they've been working up a treat in that regard. They've managed to find themselves a nice little 1k lead, only 10 minutes into this game. As you mentioned before, the different trades off those neutral objectives certainly there to favour Fury at this early stage, given that it is the AP jungler, and if you know, Nox can find that first item nice and quickly, already sitting on those Sork boots to assist in doing that true damage very early on. Ravenous Hydra also done for Prey too, so they're already in a pretty scary prospect.
Yeah, that's a very scary item difference in the top lane. It's not even going to be a completed item coming out of Chang'e yet. It's just going to be components sitting in the inventory, bursting the Ravenous Hydra, and the team is once again grouping up again. They want to get these objectives. Nox being very prior to everybody's communications, like, guys, I want to fight the grubs. Everyone come. Make sure if they match that we are ready to, you know, respond to that from the enemy team. And just really nice play from Fury, moving them cards as a kid. And I really regret not taking care of them, because I know I had some really good cards.
I know, man. Yeah, definitely having those sleeves is a game changer. As soon as we go for filter talk, they say, you know what, this will be a quick pull, so don't worry about it. Straight back into the action we go again. Two junglers getting rowdy about it, but it will be Nox that falls for the first time this game. The grubs were the focus. 5 went the way of Fury. They might get all 6.
Yeah, I think it's really surprising that we see Fury group up with this Fiora, not with the Yone yet because they were quite split, but they're winning these fights, and I think that's a really good job to the team. Chirp, you know, out of position here, but maybe Chang'e's the one out of position, Skinny.
Certainly could be the case. Fantastic shockwave there from Memphis. The zap across the wall from Hooper. Unable to truly get amongst that fight. Completely zoned out on that occasion. For good reason too, because it was a numbers mismatch. Prey's like, I don't want to group up. I am so strong individually. Let me get to work in the split push game.
And this is the problem with the Fury. You know, you group, you use your champ, which is good at team fighting for that, you know, one winner way of fight, and all of a sudden you've lost 75% of your tower's health, and this is why you need to be on Fury duty and just sit in the side lanes, and it's so frustrating. No matter what you do in this matchup, it's just a timer at this point to, you know, when your base will start getting attacked.
Yeah, that's the scary one, right? When you say, we need to group up as 5 because our comp is built to team fight, but who actually has to answer to this Fiora? It's a scary thing to say already 12 minutes into this one. Who actually is built to deal with it? Because you don't want Chang'e to deal with it. You don't want the Orianna to go towards that lane. And I start to run out of ideas as to, okay, well, maybe just the entire team needs to make sure that the Fiora is down for 40 seconds and then be able to play to their own style.
Yeah, and the usual way you answer these side laners is you have this really strong AD. You think of like the Kai'Sa roaming to the side lane and killing them with the top laner, but I don't think we have that same power with the Varus. It's quite scary, you know, with the fact that Prey can parry your entire damage coming out of that empowered Q when you play the, you know, lethality Varus. And I do like what Dials are doing right now, hovering the side laners and making sure they're able to get pushed out, because Katsuri in the mid lane can clear this way from so far away.
Certainly range can be your best friend in some circumstances, but a single riposte just blocking out all that damage certainly is going to feel pretty bad. Despite all that though, it is Chang'e actually has a level lead at this point, which is certainly a nice little pickup. But what will that mean when they get to group up again? Because still it is Fury cooking, frying, getting it done as the plates are about to fall on down in 30 seconds. They've still got that 1k lead. And I'm just terrified, right? Because we already talk about how strong the Fiora is at this stage with that completed item, but with the 6 grubs too, I mean, we could really just say, yeah, Chirp and Prey, go play your own game whilst the rest of us hold them down.
Yeah, but it also has to do with a lot of discipline, because if Prey, you know, groups up when he shouldn't, especially at this point in the game, he does not want to be playing for those 5v5s. That is when he starts, you know, that is how you throw the game when you play these kind of comps. You really just want to nail it in there. You want to stand the side laners and split the enemy comp up of Dials. But it's also really nice to see, Skippy, that we have an even game state for the first time in a lot of games. You know, we're quite used to seeing huge gold leads that are being ballooned at this point in the game, but the game state is quite even, and if these fights do happen, it's going to come down to execution and not item advantages.
It certainly could be about to swing on one team's favour in just a second as Chang'e goes in for the TP double. Actually, as Memphis gets amongst it too. Shinky pops the quickness. Can only find the Poppy, but they'll settle for anything at this point of the game. They've gained the Herald, they've got the kill, and now they group up to push in the mids.
I won't lie, Findo kind of entered right there. You know, ult goes wide, wastes the W even when the engage wasn't there, so he's just a bit of a sitting duck for the bot lane of the members. But Memphis caught out in the long lane against the Fiora, and I don't think he's going to be able to get out of this one at all.
There's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide, there's no tower to fall back to, there's no flash that will save you from this. The grand challenge is met, the vitals are tapped, and the kill is as easy as that. Same can be said for then Chirp, as Chang'e's like, well, both these solo lanes really do suck for me, but I probably prefer the Yone.
Yeah, how fun is it? You know, you play your first game on top and all you have to do is just sit in a side lane for the entire game, just babysitting these side laning split pushes. It's quite frustrating, but if your team is winning, on the other hand, you know, you can think, oh, this guy can never hit the turret against me because I'm just going to keep clearing the wave with my barrels. Just fully charge it, throw on the wave. The cooldown goes out as soon as you use it and not when it pops. So you can clear these waves forever, and if your team is winning in that group of the 3v3 or 4v4, you are sitting pretty.
Certainly are going to be sitting pretty. Let's see if this can translate into much more than that, because the 1k lead very quickly became 2k. And it has been a very a slow-paced game in terms of the kills. You see very aggressive compositions, but only 8 kills in 15 minutes. Certainly biding our time, and I think it really does, you know, double down on the identity that both these teams need items to come online. Yes, you could talk about the Yone spiking very quickly with the Blade of the Rune King and Tier 2 boots to say, you know what, job done, you're fully best. But for the rest of them, it's a case of we need 1, 2, we certainly need a lot more, and I think really we're, you know, setting the standards that it is going to be the Prey versus Katsuri show.
Yeah, and I'm curious, you know, as you do mention items and what people are going to build, I'm curious to what, you know, Prey and Chirp do want to itemize towards, because we see a lot of different builds when it comes to these bruises. And I think that since Prey is so fed this game, so far the clock, he can go for that defensive item as a third and still be able to do the damage he needs to win these 1v1s and to be able to kill these members in the team fights with these flanks. Same with Chirp, you know, we see multiple different Yone builds where they go for the, you know, we see Shield Bow seconds, we see Kraken Blade seconds, we see Frozen Fist, so there's a lot of different iterations you can do on these champions to fulfill your role in the comp.
Little fun fact for you, Telly, that I just found out then. 7 Fiora games have ever been played in the LCO. 7 losses! So hopefully, Prey can look to say, you know what, 8th game is the charm, and that's what gets us across the finishing line. It's actually a bit of a star-studded roster of the players that did pick it up in the end. It was Winterer, Maximize, Toppy, Patrise, as well as River.
Not the Max Fiora. Oh, no. Sitting in the side lane for 30 minutes. Guys, why are you losing? I'm splitting, I'm winning, guys, I swear.
Oh, I remember those games. He was not a happy man. A case of like, let's go to the Baron, but how do I walk in and actually go for the pincer? They just turn. As a 5-man unit, they just turn to the Fiora and say, oh, well, it's a 4v5 now. But look, Max is living his best life, enjoying a much-deserved vacation. Maybe if he tunes in and sees that snippet, he can have a little bit of a laugh and, you know, cry about it on the beach somewhere. Either way, though, Herald comes out to play.
Oh no, I've seen this happen before, Skimmy.
I don't know if I like this one, Memphis. I really don't know if this is the play, because the ult comes out, the flash from Findo. Oh no, what was that from Chirp? That Soul Unbound covered so much ground and really made sure that they'd guarantee the kill.
I had a bit of deja vu, if anyone remembers the Faker Rift Herald incident where he took that one in, and if Poppy, you know, is there with that steadfast presence to deny the pop out, you just sit on top of the Rift Herald. But Findo wasn't there in time, but he is for that E-flash that he finds onto Emphis, and that's a crucial member of Direwolves going down. And this is the map being broken open, and if the Ori is alive, they can never hit these towers.
We certainly can't. So difficult now, and the goal just continues to get further and further ahead. Very steady sailing here for Fury. Isn't a case of complete destruction of taking down the entire squad, but a pick here and a pick there is giving them those incremental leads, which you certainly do love to see. Second Dragon about to be picked up by them. And with it being a Cloud Soul, I think this is probably the best case scenario. Yes, we love our Hex Gates, we love our Infernal Souls, but these team comps from Fury, they love mobility.
Yeah, absolutely. You do want the, you know, utility out of the Dragon Souls when you're playing champs. You do so much damage. You know, you don't need an Infernal Dragon. You don't need the Hex deck. You want the sustain from an Ocean. You want the move speed from a Cloud Soul. You want the resistance from a Mountain Dragon. These are what really enable you to just do, you know, things that champs shouldn't be able to do in most of these fights. And you know, if they do manage to pick up that Cloud Soul, you know, champs like the Zeri, like the Yone, like the Fiora, it just makes them so strong.
So difficult to try and shut on down now, as 2 items have been complete by both the Fiora and the Zeri. Terrifying prospects. And I wouldn't put it past them to actually look at a very early initiation towards the Baron, for instance. That's up in a minute. Baiting the likes of Direwolves, win a team fight there, and really, you know, assert your dominance in this series. Up by 4k so far. They look for the pick on towards 2-Pip. I said he's strong. Not anymore. Dead for 30 seconds.
Yeah, so Mayfarm builds up the, you know, the Q stacks onto Findo. Unfortunately, Hooper walks in range of that knockup, and this is the classic Xin engage. You know, E knockup, paired it up with ACC from the team, and it's an easy kill. But the problem is they're finding these kills while their sidelines are being pushed in, and they can't start the Baron because it's just not up yet.
Yeah, it's so rough, right? It's the chance to say, yeah, this would be a great turnaround, but nothing to be picked up at this stage. And Fury can continue to be a menace in those side lanes and say you're never going to be able to truly group up as 5. Because we're going to keep you so preoccupied in this map, running around all the time, extinguishing all the fires, which is certainly not where they want to be.
Yeah, and we see the shield bro being completed for Chirp, and the Triforce already being created for Prey. So they have 2 items on their sides already. They're going to win these 1v1s extremely hard. They have the sustain to be able to start chipping away at these towers, and we already saw Shinky hovering the top side to, help Emphas out. They don't have kill pressure onto these champions. All they can do is really, save their members if Chirp or Prey decide to go forward.
Let's see what the next game plan is then, because you mentioned already the 2-item spikes being a massive factor that's allowed Fury to be as aggressive as they have been. And it's not to say that Emphas is going to be weak, but he needs much more than just the Ludens at this stage to make sure that Shockwave can quickly snap, react, take them out of the fight. And you catch them off guard with a riposte on cooldown. That certainly could be the difference maker here. Mid lane being the focus, and the vision, I mean, surely at this stage you want to make it so defensive to make sure you can't get collapsed upon a mid.
Yeah, and how annoying is Zyra skimming? You're just trying to walk up, find an angle onto any of these champions, and he's just sending out these little, seed spitters to just harass you, give vision, slow you down with the Rylai's, poke you down with the Leandries, do a little bit of chip damage that will really start to add up because there's just no sustain from these members in the core 3.
Does really feel like we're playing a game of Plants vs Zombies, right? Just a case of clearing out them all day long. It's an infinite wave of those rampant growths to try and get on through.
Look at the Barons, Kimmy.
There is the Baron. I mean, this is definitely what we've been excited to see, right? Plant all the seeds, do it on Spool. Not quite the case here. He does have the ultimate, but knowing that Direwolves are just around the corner, does want to take the gamble.
He's stacking up a lot of seeds in the pit. They don't recognize that this bush is water they're standing on right now, but there goes the engage from Chirp.
Chirp has gone in, committed the ultimate, snap back with the Soul Unbound. Fido on the hunt, or rather Findo. Yeah, maybe Fido could play a support in another, reality. It's neither here nor there. I'm sure he'll forgive me for that mix-up. But either way, Fido is going to try and do what he can to keep them back at bay and say, look, more and more plants are going down, but they're on vision.
Drop the pink, guys. Sweep the bush. You're on a war. I think it's kind of weird that there is no face checking coming out of Direwolves, and they think they don't have vision of Baron, so he's gonna walk back over that bush now, recognize that it's watered, and the Chains of Corruption go wide. Prey is grouped up.
It's a scary now. Instantly knocks, pounces upon them, hits them with the stun. The root is fantastic. 2-man Stranglehold instantly says bye-bye to Shinky. No chance to turn things around. The challenge is laid down too. And these duelists are just so strong. That's what they were looking for, and now this Baron is an absolute steal.
Yeah, who cares if you have duelists and you can't win these teamfights when you have a Zyra who can just flash forward, find engagement to the 2 frontline members of Direwolves and just completely blow them up in that fight so easily. You would think that the trade would come back with the damage from the Varus and Orianna, but they are just so strong right now that they can just, circumnavigate that altogether.
We certainly can. Very quickly then is a case to them figure out, well, what is our next move? These crucial ultimates that work so well together being chucked out individually, and the pace in which that fight worked out, no response from Direwolves.
Yeah, coming out of the replay straight into another fight, but Chungi uses the flash. He doesn't create enough distance, and this will be him going down to these, side laners who are just so strong from Fury, and it's so nice to see that. Oh, no, maybe there is just a bit more when it comes to the meta. Maybe there's just a lot more variance, and we have to be careful about blind picking certain champions.
Yeah, welcome to top lane, Chungi. You just get dived upon by 2 champions, and you're like, well, that's cool. That should have been me. That should have been me in the mid lane, but that's not where we're at right now. Varus locked in place. Katsuri put in the barrier, had no flash, and had no chance to survive through all of that damage. 6-0 is the combined scoreline of the Fiora and the Yone. They certainly are looking to try and be the stars of the show, but the Zyra, as you mentioned, really is allowing them to do just so much.
Yeah, and the options or the winning conditions for Direwolves just seem to keep running out. They don't really have the tools to deal with these silence anymore. It's so hard for them to engage on the 3, thanks to this Poppy and thanks to the Zyra. They just, as the more items come through, more damage from Nox, and even that Sonya's is picked up. As he eventually becomes someone they can't engage on anymore because he has ways to disengage. It's going to be a very hard game for Direwolves to come back into.
Certainly is. You hit the nail on the head on that one. They are very quickly running out of options as to getting themselves back into this one. Thankfully, I say, they've managed to deny at least one of those Drakes, so there is no sole point to compound with the fact that they've just picked up the Baron too. So this push on all 3 lanes isn't going to be anywhere near as scary as it would have been otherwise, but I mean, I suppose there's a world in which they almost hope that the inhibitors get taken so they have some free farm, and the likes of Emphas and Chungi can actually get some value to then try and answer back.
Yeah, the one saving grace, for the Direwolves comp versus Senior Silence, they are not good at breaking the base, right? So when there are no objectives left on the map to force you to leave your side lanes and, group up, you are good at clearing the ways. The Orianna, the Gragas can really hold down these side lanes, and as you mentioned, if these inhibitors go down, if they do get a lot of downtime when it comes to farming these super creeps, it's going to be a lot of gold going into the pockets of multiple members from Direwolves, and might be the chance for them to get back into the game and maybe find picks onto these side laners.
Here we go again. Out comes the Shockwave. Fantastically denied there by Prey with the riposte. It's taken all 5 members to shut this Fiora down, but quickly look at the base, guys. 2 lanes getting attacked at once. 1 inhibitor is a guarantee, but a second is on the cards.
Yeah, and this is how you break the base. You use the side lane pressure. They're playing 3 lanes. They're matching their waves. And as one member is attacking, instead of rotating and, playing for that team fight, even though they are stronger, they're like, okay, guys, this is our one window to break the base. Let's go for it.
You certainly have done a very great job at finding value in the death of Prey. Makes it that much easier now to work towards that GG condition. Is there any luxury in finding an inhibitor to freely farm up? That does definitely deny you ever wanting to group up at 5 to try and force a fight, but the luxury would be that, 2.5 minutes before the synchronized respawn of that Baron and that Cloud Soul is up. And I mean, is that enough time to get yourself in a comfortable position? Because level 16 is only now just being picked up by Chungy, but it's probably Emphis lagging behind the most.
Yeah, and it doesn't, as the game goes on, regardless of how much experience Chungy gets, it's just going to keep getting worse and worse for him because he just won't have the damage to be able to take down this Fiora. Prey even decides to go for the armor option instead of the magic resist, so he does not care about Chungy at all. Will get the magic resist as a 4th item, but one of the major things is the teleport will be available for both of these side laners, so if Direwolves decide to commit to one of his objectives, they have to worry about the other side of the map being attacked.
Will we get any XPK gaming? That is the question. As Chirp jumps in, instantly gets Shockwave there and finds what he's after. Removes the jungler from the equation very quickly. And it's the brilliance of the comp that Fury have put together. They can just fight all day long. Bot, top, 2 plays at 2 different times. It does not matter because they have the damage and they have the mobility. But Chungy says, watch this, and doesn't fail the flash across the wall.
Yeah, great escape by Chungy, but unfortunately Mayfan goes down. Chirp has that shield bow, which absorbs the entire Orianna ult. Doesn't even pop that one, so we can see how strong it is, with the buff that came out a couple patches ago. It is now going to be a 720 health shield at that max rank, but Hooper playing really aggressive here.
He is very aggressive. He's really keen to try and find that montage moment and wants the limelight to be back on him rather than everybody else on his team, but cops so much damage in the process. Has the Bloodthirster, but needs a wave to hit to try and regen all that HP back. We'll just actually go into the jungle instead and use the camps as that way back into this one and make sure that all 3 lanes keep having this incredibly high line. I mean, quick stock check of the vision. You cannot leave your base because if you do, Fury know exactly where you are.
And Chirp going aggressive, misses the ult, so hopefully Emphis doesn't die to the classic miss everything, kill you anyway. But he does fall down. There is no Zhonya's coming out of Emphis there. A very aggressive Orianna build because it is the correct way to push the game. When you are behind, building defensive is kind of going to seal the deal for you because you won't be doing any damage. You need to be aggressive when it comes to your item builds to be able to, when those windows do come for that big shockwave, the damage will count.
Well, that is really what we're gambling on now, right? You're really hoping that the Rabadons can get picked up here by the Orianna, and perhaps one big team fight, somebody caught lacking, that could turn it around, and this 10k lead no longer is of much concern. But the Baron is up in 20 seconds. Nox is patiently waiting on its respawn.
He's gardening.
And I mean, he's pruning the garden. He's making it look great. The feng shui is fantastic. And I mean, he doesn't even need the rest of his team to be there. He literally can do it all on his own.
Yeah, the one nice thing about having someone tank the Baron for you is you don't do the reduced damage to the Baron because the person tanking will be doing reduced damage. But another big ult coming out of Chirp.
It certainly is. He's going to find a lot of damage as a result. 2 kills, 2 members. Out goes the cast though. Chungy's had enough. And they do get the shutdown. It goes the way of Emphis. That's certainly going to help him find what he's after in that Rabadons. But is it too little too late? They've won the fight without Nox. Nox is getting the Baron. Now they say, look, watch this. Findo says, I'm a support, and I'll take you down as well. The Orianna having blown everything in the kit, having no flash for another 10 seconds. Too little too late. And with the Baron and a super minion, this is Fury claiming game 1.
And why did Chirp ever play mages when he is so good at these AD mid laners? He's doing so well at navigating around these team fights, knowing how to use that shield bow really well to get that extra bit of damage off in the fights, finding so many solo kills and nice ults. I think that this is a new look for Fury, especially with the pickup of Prey. They look so dominant.
It certainly is a new look, and it's great to see that they found a level of cohesion in this meta where it's like we need to conform to some degree, make it work on brand for us. But ever since they've made that switch with the Neferi games, now into the Yone, it's no longer a case of, just ban away the Azirs, these control mages, and we win up against them. They have got so much newfound depth.